Live streaming. Got it. We're going live now. Boom, we're live. And we're going to record locally. All right. Go ahead and mute out, Kristen. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you and welcome you to April 22nd, 4 days from my birthday. I'm 29 years old this year for the 25th year. Man, dang. And I feel good, man. I feel good. I feel like I've gotten to this point in my life where my back doesn't hurt anymore. I've been working out and been taking care of myself in ways that I haven't been able to in years and figuring stuff out. A little bit of a praise report on a neighbor. We prayed for her on Sunday. Um, and I just found out about this, or last Sunday. I just found out about this because she came over to the house and she asked for help. And she has a big tumor on her chest, and it's ugly. I haven't seen it, but it's supposedly ugly, big and round and colorful and cancerous. And so I told her, I said, take some baking soda and water, shake it up, put it in a syringe, hit the tumor with the syringe. She's like, oh, I can't shoot myself. I'm like, you got a tumor in you. It's on the surface. Go for it, or find somebody to do it, And she said, oh, no, no. And I said, okay, look, take and then obviously I'm not a doctor, but I've been called a doctor. I have cured people, but through prayer a lot, so I don't take credit on that. But this one was pretty awesome because I told her to shake up a teaspoon of baking soda into a cup of water, drink it in the morning, drink it at night. And I told her to get some baking soda and put some, like, not as much water as you normally put to drink it, and just make a paste, put it over the tumor all over her chest, and put a bandage over it every night and go to sleep that way. Well, as of today, in 1 week, the tumor is half the size. Boom. So you can do things that are not expected by the medical community for pennies. And I've been following that and tracking that. And that's why I drink only alkaline water, because cancer cannot survive in an alkaline body, supposedly, only an acidic body. And so I always try to keep my body alkaline. And now I've been working on parasites for 2 months. I started taking this quote unquote parasite cleanse called fenbendazole. And the first week, my head got real um, pressurized, I guess. And I felt kind of weird, like stuffy breathing. I was coughing and stuff was coming out. And now I'm fine, but I'm sticking on because supposedly the eggs, and you want to nail it for a good 3 month period of time. And I don't really feel anything. And the beautiful thing about fenbendazole is it's been around for years and it has zero side effects. Um, but there's a lot of information, not just from the medical community regarding it, and doctors on YouTube, but that they've, in their professional opinion, obviously the government doesn't agree with this. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of online things that don't agree with this, but there's a lot of people with the opinion that fenbendazole, which is normally prescribed for dogs, works a lot like ivermectin to deal with um, issues of cancer, where cancer is supposedly the fungus that is derived from the feces of worms and parasites. And so if that's true, you'd want to do a parasite cleanse. You'd want to do, an alkaline in your body so the cancer can't keep growing. But I'm just doing those things just to help myself out and try to get free of whatever. And I have no cancer, no known cancer. I have my blood is good, and so forth. Anyway, I know you don't want to hear all that, but I had a major victory, and it's exciting for me to know. I don't know if Kangen's alkaline water. I think Kangen is. I think Kangen, you can control the alkalinity of what comes out of the machine. Just FYI. So here we go. My name is Kelby. HISAdvocates. We help people be free. A lot of people out there touting that they can do freedom, and God bless them, man. I want to support anybody that's trying to do freedom for people, but you have to understand when you look at what entraps you, what brings you into a warrant or an indictment or a chargeable offense, those are the things that we deal with when we're taking people through the living in the private program, because people want to be free of a charge or government intrusion or. And so we really have developed a platform that's truly private, not public. And we're on Roku, Amazon Fire, Android TV, Apple TV, LG TV, Samsung TV, and a couple others I can't remember. And right now, if you're just now watching, please do me a favor, download HISAdvocates TV on your phone. HISAdvocates TV is a direct reflection of hisadvocates.org and all of those TV channels. What I like about it is it's very easy to use. You just simply open it up. And of course, I'm looking for it quickly and it's not showing up. You just open it up and it's an email only. And because we're capturing the email and you're agreeing to terms of service, you're now able to go in, and the first channel is all of our shows. And we talk about living in the private. We have all of our Q&As, we have our man shows, we have pretty much everything, anybody that has a question regarding living in the private, channel 7. The first series is the presentations. The second one is the actual Q&As with the complete shows. And then we break down the Q&A by category, questions and answers by foundation, questions and answers by passports, so on and so forth. And you just grab it right here. It's quick, it's easy. Tell your friends about it. They can get involved. We're going to be creating some links that they can start make a phone call right from there or whatever to our back office to get questions answered pertaining to the living in the private program. Living in the private program is probably the most important thing that somebody could ever make a choice for in their life. There's so many benefits to it, I can't even begin to tell. We've been doing this going on 15 years, going on 13 years as HISadvocates. We don't have any complaints. We have a ton of followers and a ton of people on different social media platforms, and we're on TV, and we're now starting to make headway into mainstream. So this week I got invited to go to the CSPOA show. It's the constitutional, I forget the name. It's where Sheriff Mack created the CSPOA to help train sheriffs on a national basis of the duty and responsibilities of their job. So I go to the show. A couple guys actually wanted me to speak, and I had an opportunity to, but after watching like 6 or 7 people, I realized without an excellent PowerPoint presentation, I'd probably get some tomatoes thrown at me or something from these sheriffs. Just because they have been trained by FBI that sovereign citizens don't exist, they're not real, they have no power. The funny thing is I'm not a sovereign citizen, I'm a state citizen, and they will never mention that in any of their briefs to any judge, to anybody on the internet. As a matter of fact, if you take a look at Homeland Security or FBI and what they've released regarding sovereign citizen stuff, state citizenship is not mentioned because they do not want you to know about it. State citizenship is in hundreds of Supreme Court rulings, allowing for us to be like our founders. What is a U.S. citizen? It's somebody who said, "I want the job." That's it. The U.S. citizen is your birth certificate. I know it's crazy, but it is. UCC 9, registered organization, birth certificate. It's a corporation. Corporations can only do business with other corporations. They cannot do business with living people. It has to be like entities. It's just a maxim. So when I say these things, and I'm trying to help you to understand like how they got to the people, they took the people in giving them a job opportunity called U.S. citizen. They gave them a job opportunity called driver, gave them a job opportunity called Social Security Administration, gave them a job opportunity called voting, gave them a job opportunity called whatever, all these adhesion trusts. They're not adhesion contracts. They're not contracts. They're trusts. They are the grantor. They're the beneficiary. Just got to read the back. You never get a countersigned driver's license. You never get a countersigned voters. You never get a countersigned SS5, meaning for the Social Security card. You are self-executing your freedom away into jobs that all need to be dealt with. These are critical components because they have a 3-contract rule if they want to get an indictment. They use the zip code, they use your jobs, and your own signature and your own word to bring you into jurisdiction. And the United States exclusive jurisdiction is in the District of Columbia. It's not the United States of America. 9 UCC 307H. 9 UCC 307H. That means that everything outside of the District of Columbia, except by contract through territory. What's territory? Above the land? What is, it's like a perception of a boundary. You know, I once, just yesterday, I saw this lady going up to a horse, and she didn't have the bridle, whatever the thing that you put over the horse's head. She had empty hands, and she went like this over the horse's head, and then she went underneath the horse and acted like she was tying the horse to a rope, and then she picked up the rope, and then the imaginary rope, and then the horse led with her away. Exactly what has happened to us. We believe we are under their bondage. We believe we are under their surety. We believe that we are responsible to being this bonded surety slave. I mean, or U.S. citizen, because that's the proud American. No, it's not the proud American. The state citizen is. You have literally, if you are a U.S. citizen, you've bonded away your rights to freedom under the Bill of Rights. There's Supreme Court rulings out there that say a U.S. citizen doesn't have access to the Bill of Rights. Did you just hear what I said? You don't have access to the Constitution because the Constitution wasn't written for you. It was written for them to protect the state citizen, but not to protect the U.S. citizen. The U.S. citizen's an employee. He's got statute, code, and ordinances and policies he's got to adhere to. If he doesn't adhere to those, he can get slapped, he can get a warrant, he can get jail, he can get whatever. Why? Because he's agreed to all of these. It's just like a military member. You go into the military, you sign away your rights to injection, your rights to freedom, your rights to anything, war, all of that's on the table. My point that I'm trying to make is, as Americans sitting at the CSPOA conference, they had no idea they were all a bunch of complaining U.S. citizens. God bless them. God bless these sheriffs. But they are trying to resolve something that cannot be fixed. You cannot fix the U.S. corporation. It's bankrupt. HGR 192 for 80, 90 years. It's done. The bondholders and the land and the ports and everything is being sold off. And now they're letting the army in through the borders to get ready for a takeover. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. This last Tuesday, I have a friend that lives next to this person in Newport Coast. It's a rich, expensive area. But that's where they've hit robberies, burglaries, both with people and without people present in the home. She happened to have somebody break in the back of her house. She screamed her butt off, called 911. And not just the police, but the local security was there within minutes, and they were on the run. The neighbor got robbed 2 weeks ago. At 4 o'clock in the morning last Tuesday, the security for Newport Coast knocked on his door at 4 in the morning. He opens the door, already being robbed, waiting. They bum rushed. It was a fake security guard. A couple men died. One got hurt. He was ready. He had a firearm. Here's the funny thing. Somebody died outside the home, and they say, and the sheriffs are reporting it as a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Think about that for a second. So, without making it too public, a couple of the Ring cameras around that home disagree with what the sheriffs say. I'll leave it at that. Here's the bottom line. Our country is being taken over from within, and our sheriffs know it. And they don't even know what state citizenship is, because the corporation has been bleeding in their ear about this thing called sovereign citizens, people who think they're free, that are not under federal control. That's literally the words they use. The last I checked in this nation, the people were the government, and they had one stinking job, and that was to serve my butt all day long. Just me, because I'm self-governed, right? It's not you and me. It's just me, or it's just you, because we're self-governed. We are the government. We are the people. And they have a duty and a responsibility to protect us. The Constitution is there for them. I don't have constitutional rights. My rights come from God. I have the protections of the Constitution. I have the protections of the Bill of Rights. But those are just mere confirmations of my God-given unalienable rights. Like, I don't need to agree how they want to make the First and Second Amendment. I don't need to say I'm allowed to carry a gun because of the Second Amendment. I create a gun. It's mine. Purchasing a gun is different because you're purchasing something that's pre-owned by the United States. It's already been pre-registered to the United States, the Department of Justice. So purchasing a gun is different because you're filling out this form agreeing to what I just said. Making a gun is completely different. And I'm only sharing these things because I want to share the nuances of how they tricked us. And I'm only sharing the nuances of why we fail for a lack of knowledge. So I'm watching all these sheriffs, and I'm super proud of them. I'm proud that they're quoting Supreme Court rulings that I know firsthand, that I believe in, that I agree with. But I'm realizing they're all trying to fix the court. And really what the sheriff has to do is fix his county, one county at a time. Stop using the court, bring in back the people, create the de jure structure again, erase the corporation from existence, and take the existing money flows and bring it into de jure trust accounts that the people are over and people are accountable to the people. That's it. One county at a time. And if we did that, we would have counties that were turned back over into republic, and this nation could be re-inhabited one county at a time. See, the federal portion of the Republic for the United States of America is already done. We're holding the seats for the major portions of the people to stand up in their respective states. And we can do that. But the sheriffs need to know the truth. The sheriffs need to know that Orange County was called Orange County 100 years ago, not the county of Orange that we have today. That California was called California a couple hundred years ago, not the state of California, all caps. That the city of Huntington Beach wasn't the city of Huntington Beach before, it was called Huntington. Fullerton, same. Anaheim, same. They took the de jure original lawful name of every structure in this nation and converted it to a de facto corporate equivalent. I've been saying this for years. How come people don't agree or believe? Well, guys, they're at the stage of collecting the collateral now. Who's the collateral? The people. They're at the stage of making up these things that if they can get something in you, that you are now patentable. Sounds biblical, if you ask me. They're at these stages where the Bible is going to come alive, and people are going to have to go, okay, I got to at least take it into consideration. Yeah, all the countries around Israel hate Israel for some reason. I got to take that into consideration. Yeah, they said it. It was all going to be by the word V coming in 25 years ago. And then it was going to move into a global warming and move into all these things. And you know what? They're doing it. So this nation is the holdout for the whole world. This nation. And if I really told you the structure of the whole world and how every corporation, meaning country, Alaska is not a country, excuse me, Australia, Republic, registered at the Securities and Exchange Commission, meaning all the birth certificates of that corporation, the people's equivalent, are now registered under the Securities and Exchange Commission, bonded and surety to the global, or to the banks, really, to the banks for the bankruptcy of the United States. Remember the bankruptcy, the United States lent money to the entire world, made deals. What does the Bible say? Made deals, the whore made deals with kings and princes and all across. What to do what? To give them luxury, to give them whatever, and on a pretense of getting paid back, that will never happen. Now, all people are indebted to a bankrupted corporation known as the United States across the world. All people. And the banks are consolidating and fighting to remove the financial system and come into a new financial system. They're playing one body against another, one party against another, and one blonde guy against a bald guy. And everybody's in belief that they can just rely on a blonde guy and not worry about anything else, and that their own position is okay. So long as he gets into office, he will declare us all free and re-inhabit the republic as if we don't have a right to private contract. Excuse me, read the Constitution. The highest form of law in this nation is your private right to contract your freedoms away. Trump, the blonde guy, cannot get in that way of your right to be a slave. Only you can take the shackles off. Nobody else. We can take them off you. We can take them off your children. We can take them off your businesses. It's a matter of being private and not public. It's a matter of using private foundations, trusts, businesses, and not public registered businesses. It's a matter of being the style to which you do your applications, specifically for you to the Department of State for your passport. We literally send the Department of State a passport. We are not United States citizens at all. We make allegiance to God, make allegiance to the Declaration of Independence, because that makes allegiance to God, whether you like it or not, and to the state to which we were born on, for the naturalized people to the state to which you live on. And they argue. They give us a few letters in response. We win, and we get you a passport. Why is that critical? Offer, acceptance. It's critical. Now you have proof, because we order certified copies of the application. The federal government gives you certified copies of the DS-11 and the explanatory statements. And now you have something that is considered evidence in any court. Then we deal with the drivers, the social, the everything. You don't have to give up the social. There's people out there that say you do. That's just total BS. They don't understand trust law whatsoever. You can use processes to recontract with these agencies, and that's what we do. We use the same judicial processes under the federal rules of regulation that they do to do a non-judicial foreclosure. We do against their own public franchises to execute contracts by defaulting against us. We put it into the public and we serve them with a final notice. There's some very interesting things on the works. I'm not going to get into it with you right now, but we're talking to the Hague about sealing our docks for the people that have finished. They can go to the Hague and seal the docks. We're considering that. Not like I need the Hague. And it's not like I get permission from somebody. I'm unalienable under God. But there's always an added power where a court that is higher than the federal or Supreme Courts of the United States agrees with our position. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, hear us out. Get your friends and get your family behind this movement. This is something that it's not been in the works for a long time. It's only been in the last 30, 40 years that I know of. I'm sure it's been around much longer. I'm sure people in the 30s were, no, I'm never going to become an employee of the United States. We're losing our freedoms. The United States is different than the United States. I'm sure there was people out there that figured it out. I just don't know who they were and whose grandpa they were. But today, we're really in a critical moment. Like, people ask why. Isn't it too late? No, not too late. It's not. You still have a recognized freedom from an authority in your area. There's things that people need to get their mind wrapped around, like a peaceful inhabitant protected under the Lieber Code. You are not a peaceful inhabitant if you're the public surety to the debt of the United States. You are considered under the Federal Trading with the Enemy Act, a belligerent enemy combatant to the United States. This is what they did to the people that became employees of the United States. They added you to the Federal Trading with the Enemy Act. I'm not exaggerating. People say, oh, that's a lie. Bull crap. You're a liar. You know, we can go to the document and I can show you explicitly where it names US citizens as enemies to the federal government. Period. This is way back in 33, right before they made you an employee to the United States and gave you a job position with an opportunity to have a retirement. And that's why do you think the 50s were so sweet? The 50s, 60s got a little bit out of control. Everybody was laid back, drinking, coming home, relaxing, watching the Beavers, whatever. 60s, 70s, we're now in a position where they are taking our stuff and they're trying to chip the world. That is not a lie. That is their intent. This is what the global order is saying. If you don't know, there is a one world order that is already in existence that has been spoken of by every president since 1990. Every president has agreed that they are in power. One specific president was working extremely hard to create this country into a position where it had a complete control by the one world order. And now this president, quote unquote president, actor, whatever you want to call him, is 100% behind the global elitists and blaming everything on Donald Trump. Now, guys, look, I don't want to poo-poo Donald Trump. He's not your savior. There's some things that you got to consider, and I just want to throw it out there for you to consider. He is still talking about the V as if it's a good thing for you. Still, he did personally invest in Moderna. Personally, he did create Operation Warp Speed. You want to say it's for placebo? Well, I want to point to VAERS, and I want you to go check how many people in VAERS have been hurt. Call it what you want. He is still on the campaign trail for them. Okay? Now, look, I'm not poo-pooing. I just don't think you're going to have JFK Jr. pop his head out as vice president in the next couple of years. I just don't think that. I don't think President Trump is going to be in a position where he actually gains access to the presidency again. Just don't think that. But isn't it interesting that we are coming into an election year where this year is going to be the biggest fight for freedom you have ever seen? Isn't this interesting? And Donald Trump is wrapped up in so many trials that he can't even get to his first event to raise money for his campaign, canceling it, citing on the rain. You think Donald would cancel a campaign event where money's coming in? Busy. They got him wrapped up in so many things that are after his money that it's all BS. I get it. I agree. And he was the greatest president I think we ever had in office. And he did say and was against the V for the longest time. Was. And then at the end, all of a sudden, no more. Why? I don't know. I don't know. And that stuff bugs me. That stuff bugs me. And I think one day we're going to have an understanding. Is he better than what's in office right now? Oh, yeah. 100%. 100%. But who knows what God is going to do? But all I know is the top leaders in the Republican campaign are all pushing the same narrative. And it's resulting in what maybe Trump doesn't understand, that when you change your DNA, it becomes what's called cDNA, which is patentable, and where you now are becoming the property of the corporation that created the product. Not a conspiracy. If you need me to prove my point, say, prove your point, Kelby, and we will. We'll create a little show, but it won't be on YouTube. Okay? Because that is something I've already done my homework on. And I will straight up smoke whoever doesn't believe that out and have them understand the truth. It's super important that we get that. That's all done. It's all Supreme Court based. That DNA gets changed. One marker. you're now cDNA, patentable, and owned by the corporation of the shot that you took. Not even hesitating to say that because it's lawful. 100%. And if YouTube were to do anything on this show, I'd be able to sue them righteously, easily, because all I'm doing is quoting the law. I'm not trying to entice anything. I'm not trying to fearmonger, but this would be worth a lot of money to this ministry. And they would lose because this is not enticing anything. It's just truth. It's just what they've done in the law. And that's the craziest part about it. So let's get to some questions. Let's start. I'm going to go to the Q&A first. And then I'm going to go to the Q questions under the streaming portion of YouTube. And then I'm going to look into the comment section. I'm going to try to do this quick because I got a VIP show I'm trying to do. Now, listen, guys, my back is out right now. I have a little notch right here. I've had my pillows and my pain sprays, and I don't know why. I've been to the chiro today already, and I've been sitting with this pillow behind my back, trying to push it back into place, and it's just been out for 2 days, and it's one of those nerve endings that is being grinded, and it's painful. Anyway, so work with me today, please, is one more point. I'm having trouble to find someone to notarize my PMA address document. So anonymous attendee, I don't know what exactly you mean, but if you're talking about your foundation or your PMA, you can go to if we created it for you, you can go to our back office and ask for one that is a dual witness signature. And that way you don't need to do a notary on it. And the dual witness will allow for you to go and get an account open or anything that you have to do with your PMA. All right, next question. Are we able to ask questions here now? Yes. It doesn't have to be sent to da-da-da. No, you can ask questions here. If so, will you help clarify my questions sent through email? Kristen, do I have questions that were sent through email somewhere?
I just checked a few minutes ago and I have not seen any.
Okay, so to that person, send them to Kristen, post them here, or send them to Kristen at HISAdvocates.org, and she'll make sure I get them. Thank you. My postal annex address. I'm not an agent, Kelby. That's funny. For the people that weren't here before, this is anonymous attendee. We call them agent anonymous. Anyway, my postal annex address, meaning your UPS store, you're having trouble finding somebody to notarize that because you don't need a notary when you go in there and do the docs. They'll just accept your 1583 and the private contract with the UPS store. Tell me if I'm wrong. But go into post another question if I'm wrong. I've been spreading the word and inviting friends tonight. Question. I have a couple friends that have businesses and would like to know how they can live in the private and still function. Okay, so I have a construction company. Here's an example. I have a construction company. Just got its accounts shut down. I don't know how. They have a license. They have employee costs, employees' expenses, and different things like that. I'm going to show them how to operate a private construction company utilizing that public side license with individuals paying the necessary insurance on the public side, but allowing for the private side contract with the individual end user to be paid through the foundation. Yes, you can operate 100% of your businesses, but you have to take this into consideration. If you have a street front business or a chiropractor or a doctor, you need to use the forms to which we've done for other people, and you'd want the structure to which we have already done. And the reason is you need to have a new sublease agreement with the landlord under the name of the foundation. You need to remove potentially, and for the most part, remove the contracts with the business license for that address, remove the contract with the Secretary of State for that corporation for that address. So there's a bunch of things that you need to do, but you can set up businesses in the private and all day long and not be required to collect state tax, income tax, whatever. you are by an obligation of being private and not public, you don't have a right to collect sales tax on products that you sell. You're not even able to. And we've had people to which get challenged from the public franchises, and it's simple. It's a response and go pound sand. They have to prove subject matter jurisdiction, and they cannot. But for the most part, people do not get bothered. The answer to your question is if you have somebody that's interested, contact us at the toll-free number 844 HISAdvo, 844 HISAdvo, extension 705, and pay for a consult. Here's why. I will address the question specific to the nature of what you're doing, and we will deduct the consult off the fees that you, if you elect to go forward and use our services. So you will essentially get a free consultation and get onboarded with the proper knowledge and going forward. Okay, next question. Sorry, I got a pillow in my back. I'm trying to make that adjustment. Anyway, for some reason, we got a personal property tax statement from the county for our private foundation sent to our UPS box. They wrote owner's name as our foundation. This is an unregistered foundation we set up through HISAdvocates a couple of years ago. The only way the county would know about it is from us registering our vehicles to the foundation name. How should we proceed? So you're in a state that charges property tax based on um, a car title. Is that what I'm hearing? So my question is will they, are you able to get your tags without a problem, without addressing the county? Number one. Number two, there's no reason to respond to a county with anything that is owned by a foundation. The foundation is private, it's not public. It has no requirement under the law to report anything or to file a return whatsoever, state or the IRS. So on that note, um, it would depend. I would need a little more understanding of the state, the type of property tax it is, whether you're still going to be able to get your tags. And we can always help you with a custom response if needed. More than likely, this is an ignore. But if it were me, I'd pay for a private consult. We have guys that are experts at helping you, or we can just give you a copy of a letter that you can deal with. But I need to know more. And if you want, I'll open up the mic to you and you can explain as much as you want right here without any cost to you. But if you want a more private consult that answers and addresses your questions and concerns, we'd be more than happy to. I just need to know more to get really to a bottom line with whether or not you need to respond or you just need to send a letter. But to me, you have no requirement to respond to somebody requesting you to fill out anything on property you own. You're private, you're not public. Okay. We have that hand being raised. I'm going to allow you to talk. You have to do something on your end. You there?
Yeah, I'm here right now.
Cool. All right. Explain it away if you can.
Yeah, so we got a 2023 tax statement from the county and the county collector, and it's coming to our foundation name, and it came to the UPS box address, and it's got, tax due, a tax amount on there. Basically, it's a bill stating like the total mandatory amount and the fee, and I don't know how or why really they sent that because we obviously never registered this as a business, and the only way they got our information would have been from registering our vehicles, and we put them into the name of the foundation. So or that's the only way that I think they could have
So
gotten it. So I'm kind
does this tax, is it pending on whether you get tags for your vehicles annually?
of I'm not sure actually.
This is labeled as a business personal property.
Yeah, so
Oh,
business
you
personal
know,
property.
if this has nothing to do with tags, you're golden. You have no responsibility whatsoever to pay taxes on items to which the foundation owns. Period.
Yeah, because it does say business personal location,
Yeah,
and yeah, it
you're not
doesn't
a
reflect anything
business.
about tags. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's treating it like it's a business because we also got one for our we have a an LLC as well, and it also got the same exact thing, and that
yeah.
was for our chiropractic business. And it's like it's the same thing. So it's a business personal property
I
tax.
would write it out. You're not getting threats. You're not getting, you know, harassed. I would write it out. Just ignore. I'd return it to sender.
Okay.
No such person exists. Person, I would return it to him. No such person exists at this address. No such business exists at this address. And let them do whatever they're going to do. When it gets to a point of where you have to make a response because maybe they're trying to do an attachment, maybe they're trying to come after you individually, which they can't. Maybe they're, making an expressed urgent effort. There's all kinds of things that we could do. There's all kinds of triggers that we could pull, and we're doing them for other people. You're just at a beginning stage of something right now, and it's not relating to tags directly. It's relating to business property taxes. You're not a
Yeah,
business.
because we pay the tags.
Yeah, so that's different. So you're not a business. You have nothing to answer them on, period. You
Cool.
get
Thank you. Hmm.
any other questions?
Well, I guess then really a different question would be, we still haven't transferred our house over to our foundation. And then I guess, so the other question is, our UPS box location is attached to the foundation. Is that okay?
Yeah, you're fine. Question
As
for
I
you.
say, we set that up with you guys.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. Question for you. In response to the house, have you done anything pertaining to creating a deed in the formation that we teach in order to transfer the house into the appropriate deed name under the foundation?
No.
No, we were waiting on receiving an example letter from the last time we did a private chat with you. And then we
So
didn't end up receiving anything.
yeah. Contact back office and just simply ask for a copy of a deed. And
Okay.
Okay.
it'll be an example of what you need to be looking for. Basically, you need a plot map or a meets and bounds description for the description, and you'll be able to follow everything else. You can do it yourself, or we can do it for you. We charge $4.95. We just need we need the land description, which generally you got to go back in time to find, because right now, currently, the last 20, 30 years, it's a legal description. So we're looking for a plot map. We're looking for land description, meets and bounds kind of a thing. And that's what we incorporate into a deed by gold, by hand, fee simple, meets and bounds, and a proper conveyance with a proper acceptance. And that handles business. So it's the proper way to move your house into the private. So because you're LPP members, we give you a template for free. But if you ask us to do it, it's not a problem. But you can follow the template and do it yourself, and then submit it to us, and we'll tell you yay or nay. Just change this, change that at no cost. Okay.
Okay. Another question I have is, has there been any like precedent set where like if the foundation itself were to ever like get sued, like there was a slip and fall, like let's say at the house, and are they able to go after assets within the foundation? Like, would there ever be a need to have like multiple different foundations set up for different assets for like a diversification of asset protection?
You
Because
can,
I've heard
you
other people
can,
talk about that.
yeah, no, you can do that. You can even layer it where you do a rental to the other foundation agreement for all the assets, that the first one that the business one that you're worried about maybe getting hit. But let me share something with you. I've never seen one of these in a court. I've seen an individual name a foundation in a court but not attach the assets, and could not attach the assets. But what happens is there's no ability to have representation on a foundation, and there's no ability to serve a foundation. Therefore, subject matter jurisdiction can be challenged based on a lack of subject matter jurisdiction. And the point being is, I wouldn't worry about it. There's nobody to serve. I mean, I've debated attorneys on this. Who are you going to serve? And they're
Mm.
like, well, we'll public serve. And I'm like, okay, you're going to public serve who? A foundation? Okay. And who is that entity? Where are they registered at? They're not. So they are private, not public, and not servable. They are not a party to the system to which you're trying to bring in. That system can only bring in a corporation, can only bring in a registered organization, only a public side entity, a corporation. People or the equivalent of them, they're artificial persons, and corporations are the only ones that can be served. So I do know of people that are using multiple foundations. They do it all the time. It's we don't charge the normal amount. If you're in the LPP, it's half that much of whatever the original cost, like $14.95 for additional foundations if you want one for further asset protection. And there's nothing wrong with, I always call it developing Kevlar for yourself, for your sanctity. There's nothing wrong with that. Is really not a need, but slip and fall, you can do insurance. You can do all kinds of, you can bond, you can do all kinds of things. Are you saying because you're operating a business, quasi private business out of your house? Is that what you're doing?
No, no, it was just something I was talking to someone else about, and they haven't gone through your system. They've gone through some other like another means, and they were just talking about how for asset protection you can like set up multiple different types of foundations. And so I was just curious on, what that looked like and if it was necessary, because I never really stopped to think, because we do have insurance.
Yeah.
We have insurance, and we don't operate a business out of our house or anything like that, but um, because of our
I would love to
profession,
make another sale. I would love to make another sale, but it doesn't sound like you have that need. You know, the fact remains, the government cannot sue these. Individuals can try, but you can always challenge, and the challenge more than likely is going to be accepted because it's not a registered organization. It's unservable. It's not able to be brought into a court because it's not a like entity. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. And that's the beauty in all this. And this is why they created all this for themselves. Um, and
we moved out of state recently, and so our UPS box is still in like our previous state where we were living. Now we're in Florida, and so we have someone who's checking our mailbox, and they'll send us any mail that comes our way.
right.
But if there's any mail that comes to like the house, like shipping, we're putting it in our foundation name. And I was just curious if we have like mail coming to this address that we're at here, is that something that we need to be concerned with, or is it okay if we put it in the foundation name and the mail is coming here in a foundation name? Because we even made
So
like the rental contract that we have out here through the foundation and everything.
So that's a great question. And you might want, just for that purposes alone, if like people want to receive mail um to themselves, like through Amazon or what have you. And so in that case, I want it to come to the house. I don't want it to be shipped to a box 10, 20 minutes away or an hour away. And so you may want to make a different name for the deliveries of stuff to your house versus um, the recordation names of your home, your cars, and your everything else. Because people will start, if they're trying to penetrate, if they're trying to look into, if they're trying to figure stuff out, they're gonna go to an Amazon and they're gonna say, do you have any deliveries for XYZ Foundation? Do you have any, and all I'm doing this and explaining this for is so that you can again have a layer of Kevlar between you. You have a name of something that you just receive your mail in. And I have just a name just for something I receive my mail in. And I know when something is addressed to that, or somebody calls in that name, or somebody is looking for trying to deliver something and they reference that name, I know they're telling the truth. And versus, let's say, for example, that tax assessor trying to come after to figure out who owns it, who's a party to it. They don't understand public versus private. They might find out where you're at, might knock on your door, and you just don't want to have that. So that's one of the reasons why you may want an additional structure. But again, I'm going to sell myself short right now. I'm going to tell you a little truth. Um, you don't need to have an official foundation to receive mail in the name of a foundation, unless you're using it for banking purposes and for purposes of having a quasi business private. In other words, you can create a name for your Amazon account XYZ Foundation. And if you were to ever need, because that is something that could get um, that you can use for business or whatever, then you can develop a foundation set of docs and we can backdate it to the date that you started using it because that's when it came into existence in your heart. And so you'd be okay. And my point being is you can create a different name right now and start using it for your deliveries. That makes sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
Because
And
Amazon,
that's
Amazon isn't going to
another
knock on your
layer of
door.
protection.
Yeah, Amazon isn't going to knock on your door and say, "Let me see your foundation documents, please, before we make a delivery." You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we've been having them sent to the current foundation, but yeah, that makes sense to have it separated in case there was ever just, it sounds like what you're saying, just one more layer of protection.
That's all it is. You just want to make sure, and that's how they do it. It's literally when they're trying to gain subject matter jurisdiction at on a warrant, they literally go to the postmaster and see if you receive personal mail at that address. They literally do that. That's one of the things
And
they do.
what about like we've had a challenge with like family and friends when we tell them to send it to like the address that we give them, like explicitly, like sometimes they'll send us things and it'll say like our names and then care of, the foundation or like foundation care of or what, like whatever they'll, however they label it.
If there's
And
money,
kind of
if
like,
there's, here's your answer. If there's money in it, open it up, take a picture of the card, close it up, seal it, and hit it with the stamp. No such person exists at this address and send it back to them. They're going to call you, what the heck? And I said, thanks for the money. I took out the money, appreciate it. And I took a picture of the card so I have it. But remember when I told you I don't receive personal mail? And here's why. And explain it to them. I mean, or not. But the bottom line is you never want to receive personal mail. And as much as you hate to, send it back. No such person exists at this address.
So to further that, we can come up with another name, like for receiving wedding invitations for family, for it to come to where we're currently located in a different state. We can address it to any name. We just let them know and they send it to our address, right?
100%. You will notice that the deliveries get, and just let the mailman know, hey, look, I have a foundation. It's this name. I'm gonna get some mail here, so don't get freaked out about it. And be like, okay, no problem.
Should we have foundation at the end of that name, is what you're saying?
Not necessarily. You can have a business name. You don't want to use an individual's name. You want to use a business name at a minimum. Because we've created foundations where it says the name and then underneath a private humanitarian foundation.
Right. Like a 508 kind of.
so you basically, you don't want to put like Donald Duck or something, or some fictitious name. You want to create a name that appears that it could become a business or like a foundation.
Correct. And just say, look, these people are tallying, and say it like this: these people are tallying our marriage responses. Please make it out to X. And you can do one name for that and do another name for Amazon, whatever. People are always going to make that mistake though and put stuff in your name, and that stuff has to go back, but register them in the wedding registry, that they're coming. But just send it back, but make sure you register them locally. And anything else? I'm sorry.
No,
No,
we're good.
no, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, next question. Wondering, was just reading that taking organic sulfur can mediate the inhalation of chemicals from chemtrails. Ever hear of this? Or of any beneficial effects? No, but you know what I am doing is I have a device I got from Canada, and it shoots an electromagnetic pulse into your bloodstream. And it cleans the nanoparticulates and or metals um, out of your blood, supposedly. Just 2 cents. Have you seen many people with issues when presenting employers with WABENs? No. I see people that need explanations and understand it, but it's a government form. And the hard thing about them is to accept that you no longer have the social per se, or the use of the social, but the bottom line is you can present your docs to them and walk them through that. And they have a responsibility to honor whatever you put on the application. This isn't for them to change your application. And then they have whatever they do in their own system. But you know, it is what it is. Just try it, go for it. If we simply let our car registration expire and take off our plates and mail back the driver's license and have completed the living in the private and have active state done with apostille, can we simply drive? No. Carry. So watch this. In a car where you hold the MSO, that's a start because you dealt with the driver's license. Did you get rid of the driver's license or did you keep the driver's license on the DL documents that we sent you? That's my first question. But when it comes to something that has been previously registered to the state, they're going to have a problem because they are the assumptive owners of that car. Whether you have a certificate of title or not, they believe that they own that car. So I want you to consider that. And if it were me, I hear you, and I know you're a fighter, Carrie. Trust me, I know you're a fighter. I would not put myself in that predicament until I had to. And we don't have to right now with the DL. We're creating the new contract. We're able to operate in a form and fashion that allows for us to be protected and have the driver's license. So why? You know what I'm saying? But especially and specifically over tags on a vehicle that was previously registered, they are the owner of that. And even when people are getting the MSO on something that was previously registered, I always ask them, how are you unregistering the vehicle with the state? And do you have any documentation solidifying that you've unregistered the vehicle? So think about that. Just drive with a driver's license. You're not contracted. You know, once you've done the docs, you are not contracted. You have a fiduciary as a beneficial interest on the DL, but you know, you can still drive without hesitation of being pulled out by your hair by unruly law enforcement. And I know you're going to get pissed off on the side of the road and you don't want to deal with that. You want to be in and out, get pulled over, leave. Now, who knows, Carrie, you might be right in a couple of years where they're going to say you need to get the V if you want to have a driver's license. Who knows? And when it comes to that, I'm with you, man. We're going to form a solid pack nationwide. We're going to have the docs ready and we're going to serve them all because there's going to be millions and millions of people just like us who are going to be out and they're going to get served. And we're going to be utilizing a whole nother system of enforcement to which you need to watch tomorrow night what we're doing on enforcement. And I'm going to be introducing a whole new party of people. It was our second time in a year we've done a HISAdvocates TV show. We're going to bring it forward tomorrow night and we're going to be talking to everybody about the enforcement on a national, international basis on the 4 bioweapons that are being hit. They're taking out prime ministers, they're taking out royalty, they're taking them out in every which way because of these docs, and these docs are awesome. So taking into consideration, watch tomorrow night, become an active member of the entity that we send you to, and just understand that there is enforcement on the private side, and I'm going to be introducing you to a new set of guys who are having enforcement on the public side using the court against them. My boys Rodney, Angelo, they just got quiet title on a house after 16 years, lost the house, lost the unlawful detainer, filed a suit, kept the house, still in the house, got quiet title. I'm telling you, our guys are the best in the nation, and we want to teach this stuff to people. So if you know of anybody that has unlawful detainer issues in the state of California specifically, yes, in other states, but in the state of California specifically, we can help in a tremendous way, people, right now. The next question. Can you file for and presumably collect state unemployment and or disability tax as a state citizen? Technically, you can. It's all in what you were writing on the agreement and how you were signing. Are you signing as you, or are you signing as agent? Are you, because it's Kathy, it's not you that is collecting unemployment. Unfortunately, it's a registered organization. So when you are contracting with them to collect it, there is a perception of receiving a benefit. And if you are worried about warrants or indictments, most people aren't. But if you are worried about warrants or indictments, I wouldn't take that approach. But if you need help in filling out the application so you can cover your butt, let us know. How did the state citizens fare during COVID madness, getting jabbed or getting fired, et cetera? Oh, well, they had information, number one. Number two, if you were with me, you would know that I was telling people, do not quit your job. I don't care. They say if you don't get this, you have to quit. And they're telling the military that, they're telling law enforcement that, they're telling fire department that, they're telling everybody that. And guess what? The people that didn't get the jab and stayed the course won their cases all the way across the board. There wasn't a single person and that had an issue. And it's so being a state citizen is just having knowledge. I always tell people 90% is the knowledge of who you are, 10% is the docs. So you can come out with the living in the private program and you can have the docs and be complete in the docs. And the reality is um the 90% of understanding who you are is way, way more important than anything you could ever understand about so that you can deal with the enforcement attacks. And so tomorrow night is going to be a big deal about those very things that you just asked and what is the enforcement ability for state citizens. Because there's another round coming, right? Coming soon. But I never wore a mask. I got into Costco. I got into Mother's. I got into Trader Joe's all the way deep. Okay. I got my food and I got out. There was only one time where somebody, a manager of a store wouldn't let me in at Mother's, and one time. And so I made him do all my shopping for me. And I sat in my car. Who cares? I'm not playing games. They were nice. To this day, the guy and I have a relationship, and he knows the next round that they're supposing that they're not going to support the guidelines that they did before, but I doubt it. I think they're all going to support him in much bigger way. Next question, 501. Okay. Our daughter is still a U.S. citizen. She has two young children, no birth certificate, no socials. Good for her. Health insurance companies demanding their social security numbers. What can she do? Well, she can go to a different health insurance company that doesn't demand social security numbers. We have them, and they're much cheaper and better insurance. Now, if it's relating through the job, there is no requirement from any company to have an individual tax ID number or social security number to it's the federal law. So there's things that she could do to respond to that and say, look, I'm not required under anything for any benefit to give you a social security number and fight it that way. Or just get insurance, real insurance, private, half the cost through HISAdvocates directly. Just renewed my driver's license today, signed on something, changed my mailing. Good for you to the foundation, but they did not have the ability to put care of ABC Foundation, just put my name and foundation address. You're okay for now. Just remember, Clint, there might come a time where you need to do another notice of removal of the office of the person with us. I know that you do it. You do it in the initial stages of living in a private. A lot of people will do it at the very end again after they've cleaned up all of their mailing issues. Okay, how do I set up my LLC as a private property and operated by and under the LPP Foundation? If it were me, I would make the foundation the primary member of the LLC, and I would list it as the process serving agent at the Secretary of State. But my question, why do you need an LLC? Okay. Everything is freezing here. Give me a sec. We got another one. I'm freezing over here on the left, so I'm going to read the next question on the right. Does someone that has a CDL, have you helped those with CDL? A lot. Next question, just had a baby, did not get a birth certificate or social security. What are my next steps? Give us a call. 844-447-2386, extension 705. Give us a call. Okay, my computer's froze. No, it unfroze. Here we go. Done. Beautiful question. If the home is in the foundation name and you have a mortgage, are the property taxes applicable? Yeah, that's a separate issue. If you're going to be dealing with the property taxes, trying to stop the property taxes, I have answered that question in a lot. So you can download HISAdvocates TV, go and listen to foundations and real estate or property sections, and just understand that it's going to be work to get the county to, because you are a tax exempt organization. It's going to be work to get the county to acknowledge it. But it's happened before. And there's people that have gone through and all the way to the point of lawsuits to prove that they're private and not public, and the county does not know what to do. And so there's going to be judgment in their favor very soon. Um, it's, these are 2-year-old lawsuits now on properties with $40,000 a year in property taxes. So it's a very real thing. But putting the property in the name of the foundation is the first step. And you're either going to notice them of removal of the property from the county recorder, but you have to have free and clear title to do that, number one, or number two, take the property off the tax rolls, and you got to prove it's tax exempt, and that's a whole process. Next question: if land was bought with cash, does it need to be redone with gold for the proper deed? I would always do the proper deed, anonymous attendee. I would always do the proper deed, because if you go and read your deed, it's Federal Reserve notes, legal description. You might have a land description. You're going to be vested in inappropriately, I'm guessing, not fee simple. You're going to be joint tenant, tenant in common, or whatever. There's really 6 elements of jurisdiction over existing deeds, and we help people on the private side. So listen, anonymous attendee, if you're an LPP member, I would go and ask for a free copy of a deed that you can use for your land, to where you can transfer it into the property. Next question: I've been to the county to record my deed. However, they are trying to force me to full out certificate of real estate value. I told them no, and now they have not recorded it. So they're asking for a new value of the property instead of an inter-property transfer. On the docs, Gary, there's generally a cover sheet that comes with the transfer that you can just say that's like a family trust, and it's an inter-family transfer into this foundation. Let me know if there is anything on the docs that says that, and that will be your get out of jail free card. The affidavit of notary presentment, certificate of mailing needs to be notarized for my existing postal annex address. I'm having trouble getting it notarized. Find a notary. I don't know why a notary wouldn't notarize something for you. What state are you in? You accidentally missed my questions above. Clint. What question? I'll go to the answered. Hold on. Just renewed my driver's license, signed on to something, changed mailing address to the foundation, but they didn't have the ability to put care of. I did too. Answer that. I did answer that, brother. About 5 minutes ago. David, our daughter is still a U.S. citizen. She has 2 young children. You already answered that one. Oops, what do I need to purchase land with gold? Do we need to, that was answered. This is weird. Our grandson is 18. He is really required to sign up for the select service, or is that volunteer? It's all volunteer. You're welcome. Can I file adverse possession if they are successful, or wrongful foreclosure if I lived at my address for 25 years? First off, adverse possession would be for, yeah, you can go and get a court adverse possession and approval from a court that you're going to do an adverse possession on a property. You need to have a reason for it. And there's some rules to follow with that. And once a court and they will approve, then you can go and take custody and possession of the property. But there's things that have to be adhered to. New Hampshire, here's what you're saying. New Hampshire adverse possession requirements require 20 years to do an adverse possession. So you were on the property for 25 years. And generally an adverse possession is like you have a part of something you own on somebody else's property next door, and you want to take possession of that something that you own on their land, and you have to prove that you've had whatever. There's people that, Tammy, I know, that can help you, but I also know people that have been hurt, arrested, for doing lawful adverse possessions, because the banks get pissed and they call their buddies at the DA, and the DA sends the SWAT team, and they kicked in every door and broke every window with tear gas as a response, because it's legal, lawful, and it worked. And they don't play fair when they lose. Next question. Do you think we should set up common law courts in California, or is that on the radar? I would set up county de jure counties in the state of California and every state if I were you. And a common law court is a part of that. Common law assemblies are a part of that. You need the assembly to create the county, and you need the county to be able to create the docs to notice the actual corporate county, and there's all kinds of stuff that there's gonna be a fight, and it's gonna be a crazy weird battle, but we as a people can win this one county at a time, legally, lawfully, more important, and without anybody getting hurt, and without looking like a terrorist. There's ways to get this done, so we're going to be figuring that stuff out as we go. But anyway, I got to get ready. I got to eat. I got to get the marketing done for the VIP call. VIP members, I'll see you in 50 minutes. God bless you guys. Have a great day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in 2 weeks for the next private Q&A. Remember, tomorrow night, if you're not a member of HISadvocates.org, go become a member. Download HISadvocates TV on your phone. Download it on your home televisions. Start letting people know about it, please, please, please. And then the reality is, we're going to show you how to do some serious enforcement tomorrow on the private side, and then next week we're going to show you some serious enforcement on the public side. God bless you guys. Have a great day. And